Have you ever walked around your garden and seen either a branch break off or a stem break off and kind of sit there really sad that it's broken off and now you feel like you have to compost it? Well, it's not always the case. Sometimes you can propagate it and actually turn it into an entirely new plant. So today I'm going to take you through 5 methods that you can use both in your garden as well as your houseplants that are going to help you create more plants. Now, a couple of caveats here. Not every single method works for every single type of plant. So here you really have to learn and have some patience and be willing to experiment to see what works for which type of plant. I'm also going to try to help you as best I can by creating a list and putting it up here as I'm talking about the propagation method. But I'm not going to be able to capture every single variety of plants out there, so just don't be afraid to try. And then the more experience you get with propagating, the more you're going to be able to kind of look at a plant and just be able to tell what propagation method is going to work for that type of plant. The other thing is, not every propagation method is going to work for you. There are definitely some propagation methods for me that work better than others that I tend to gravitate towards. So again, it's all a matter of trial and error. So I'm going to take you through both houseplants and garden plants, if I forgot to mention that before. And the first thing that I'm going to start with is just good old-fashioned, your basic water propagation. So what I have here is just a coleus. Now, I want to mention, I don't really propagate any of my annuals. I live in northern New Jersey and my growing season is just not long enough for me to be propagating annuals, because by the time they reset themselves, reestablish, and get going, the season's basically already over. So that's something to keep in mind. For me, this is best for things that I'm either going to be keeping in my house or perennials. So if you want to experiment with annuals, or if you have a much longer growing season, that might be worth it for you. That said, coleus for us is an annual, but I do sometimes bring them inside into the house and keep them as houseplants. So for coleus, the easiest way to propagate coleus is just to take a stem cutting. Now, the other great thing about doing this is I have this beautiful coleus right here, and it's just one lanky stem. I really want this to bush out a little bit more. So the benefit to this not only is that I'm going to create a secondary plant, but I am also going to create a much bushier plant. Because what's happening here when I cut this off is it's going to activate these other smaller nodes to branch out to create more stems, because the entire goal of a plant is to continue to stay alive. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and snip this right here. Now I'm going to take off any excess leaves, because you don't want that in the water, because otherwise it's going to rot. I'm also going to take off all these flower buds. So what you want to think about is where the plant is going to send its energy. I don't want it to send its energy into maintaining the flowers or creating seeds, because that's what it's going to want to do. I want it to send its energy into creating roots. So the more I take off, the more energy it's going to have to send into creating a root system. That's going to be my cutting, just 2 leaves. And I'm going to stick it into the water, making sure that the base is in the water. I'm probably going to add a little bit more to this so it fills all the way up to the top. I don't add anything to the water at all. It has everything it needs here. Now, something similar happened with my Maranta, which is also a houseplant. This is known as a prayer plant, where the stem of it actually broke off, I should say. And all I did was place it in water, and you can start seeing the roots already starting to form. Now you do want to wait until the roots are roughly 1 to 2 inches long and you start seeing them branch out. So if it's just one long root system, you really want to see those branches start to branch out on it before you transfer it into another medium. Most likely I'm going to be transferring this into soil. So this is where it gets a little bit tricky, because what happened to me a lot as a beginner is once I transferred it into soil, I would water it the one time when I transferred it, completely forgot about it, and then it died immediately. You want to make sure you keep that soil nice and moist for roughly the first month or so, because that root system that has developed has been sitting in water, so it's used to drinking up a lot of water and that's used to that medium. If all of a sudden you transfer it to soil and you let it dry out, that root system is immediately going to die back and the entire propagation is going to suffer and die. So what I like to do is I like to use these mesh pots that I get from Amazon. If I'm transferring it directly into soil like I would a coleus, I would put the soil in here and I would just put it into a cache pot, fill it with water, and then this way it stays moist consistently. If it is something like a Hoya, I do like to keep those in leca, and then instead of soil, I would just use leca and do the same exact thing, fill the cache pot with water, and then just have the propagation live in there. At that point, it's no longer a propagation, it actually is a full-blown plant. So that's method one. All right, now the second method of propagation is by taking a stem cutting. So this hydrangea right here, I kind of just stuck it into the ground because I wanted to show it for this video. This hydrangea came off the hydrangea that I had actually taken out of my mom's yard before she moved. It was their pride and joy for both my mom and my dad. My dad passed away 2 years ago and my mom was selling the house. This hydrangea was probably at least a decade old, if not older. So I don't know what variety it is, but we had a large series of very harsh storms roll through and this branch had broken off. And I can propagate it. So basically, I mean, I can either throw it in the compost or I can make more hydrangeas, and obviously I'm going to make more hydrangeas. So this is one long stem. This is too long for it to actually propagate. So what I'm going to do is actually break it into a few different stems. The fact that it looks really sad, it's still alive. It's just, you know, adjusting to the fact that it's no longer attached to the larger plant. So I'm going to cut it off roughly, and again, this is just a rough guide, so that there's about 1 or 2, depending on how far away they are, 1 or 2 sets of leaves right above the stem. So just like this, and then I am probably going to cut off the top. Now, this top probably won't root. I'm going to stick it in the ground anyway, because what have I got to lose? It's no longer attached to the plant. So these are nodes right here where it's going to push new growth from. So you can see it's always at the base of the leaves. Now there is a caveat to this. You can't do anything that's patented. So if it is one of those special proven winners varieties, first editions varieties, or anything like that, you cannot be propagating them. It's not allowed. That's the reason for the whole patent. So you want to be careful. But I have done this with many older varieties. In fact, I have done this with a hydrangea that we had at my husband's grandmother's house, just as a memory keepsake, and it's a lovely way to also have something from somebody else's garden continue to flourish in your own. This is a Weigela that was propagated in a raised bed. This is another hydrangea that was just kind of stuck into the ground. Another hydrangea that was stuck into the ground. And this is actually boxwood cuttings that I have propagated. Now, if you look at this hydrangea here, here is the stem that I just dug down into the ground a little bit, and it is still attached, and it has formed a whole other plant. And then once it has formed this whole other plant, I can just come in, dig this out, separate it from its mother plant, and you're good to go. And then this way you don't have to worry about keeping the soil evenly moist, because it is still getting all of its nutrients from the mother plant. Now, the biggest thing about taking cuttings and propagating that way is that the soil around it does need to stay consistently wet, which is why I like to use this for my garden, for gardening, because I end up just putting them into my raised garden beds. The soil is nice and light and fluffy, and I have drip irrigation here, so I can kind of just stick it in and totally forget about it. I don't love this method for houseplants because I never remember to water it consistently. Now, if you're afraid to take that cutting and you're a little bit nervous to make that cut, let me show you what else you could do. Now the third method is honestly my preferred method, and it's something that you can only do with houseplants, and it's not necessarily one that you can do with all houseplants. For example, your coleus, you can only basically water propagate it. I would never use this method because it would rot. But it's basically what they either deem the wet stick method, or I just call it the propagation box method. And it really is best for things like your pothos, your campospartum, your philodendrons, anything that has multiple nodes that has a very sturdy stem. Basically, all you do is you take a plastic box like this. You don't want any air holes in it. You don't really want much air circulation. You moisten your sphagnum moss. You lay it in a thin layer at the bottom. You take a bunch of cuttings off of your plant. You tuck it into the sphagnum moss, stick the lid on it, put it into a light place because it does need light, and you forget about it for 6 months. And within 6 months, you're going to have some established roots. You're going to have a brand new plant that you can then pot up into whatever medium that you want to be using it. Now for me, in this particular box, I have pothos cuttings and I have some campospartum. I am hosting a plant bingo at the end of the week, and I hope to be able to use some of these cuttings in order to use it for the plant bingo. So at this point, they've already formed roots. They're starting, some of them have already started putting out leaves. Some of them are just starting to put out the leaves right now, depending on what cutting it is. And all I'm going to do is pot it up into some little pots. I'm going to be using Coast of Maine potting soil. Same thing here. You want to make sure you keep your potting soil nice and moist as the roots get more acclimated, because right now you are moving it out of the moist sphagnum moss into soil. Now the roots are not as sensitive as your water roots that are coming straight from a water propagation. The other thing here is, like I mentioned earlier, you want to make sure that you give it enough light. Light is key here because if you don't give it any light and you just stick it into a dark corner, it is going to rot. Sometimes sometimes the cuttings do rot, but more often than not, I have great success with this. It really is like a set it and forget it, and then you pull it back out and you're shocked with all the additional plants that you have. So I do pick all the sphagnum moss off the roots, or as much of the root system as I can. I'm really gentle not to tug on the roots themselves, but just to make sure that the sphagnum moss isn't still stuck to the root system. The reason why is sphagnum moss does like to hold on to moisture, so if that is still sitting around the root system in soil, you run the risk of the new cutting rotting. All right, here are all my cuttings. These are campospartum cuttings that have all rooted beautifully. And these are my pothos cuttings that have also rooted beautifully. So let's get these into these pots. All right, now I did just water them, so they are a little floppy, but they will perk up and be just fine as long as I keep them watered, but here they are in soil. Now the next method is really good for something like a succulent, and it's something that I think most of us already know, and that's leaf propagation. So this is, like I said, great for succulents. I think it could actually even work for your sedum plants or your stone crop plants as well. I haven't tried it, but those are so easy to propagate, where you just literally take a leaf, you do not stick it into the dirt because it will rot, and you literally just lay it on top of the soil. You do not water it. If you water it, it will start to rot. This is great to do for succulents if they're damaged, if they're falling apart, if they're stretching because you forgot about them. So it really just is a very easy method. Now I think most of us know that we can do this with succulents. You may not have known that you can also do it with anything that's in the African violet family. I have done it. It's really cool. It's really fun. And it's something that I would highly recommend you guys try if you are into African violets or anything within that family, because it's really a lot of fun to do. You can also do it with begonias, where you cut a begonia leaf in half and you stick it either in a prop box or into the soil, you keep it moist, that begonia leaf will start to root from where the veins are, and then it'll form a whole new begonia plant. It's a really neat way to kind of experiment. And the last and probably most popular method of propagation is dividing. Now this can be done with some of your houseplants and a lot of your outdoor garden plants. For me, I'm going to be doing it today with this snake plant right here. It was very large. It was in this pot, and all I did was I unpotted it and broke the rhizome apart to have 3 different plants. And now I'm going to be planting it into 3 different planters and sharing it with some of my friends. Now this can be done with a lot of outdoor plants as well. It can be done with your hostas, it can be done with your daylilies, it can be done with a variety of different perennials that have multiple stems. You do need to be careful that that plant doesn't have a taproot. A taproot basically is a very long central root system that goes deep down into the ground and is the main source for that plant, taking up nutrients and water. If you slice that taproot, then that plant is not going to survive. So something like a baptisia has a taproot, you cannot divide baptisia. So do a little bit of research before just sticking your shovel into the ground and dividing it. But like I said, I am also posting a list of plants here to help give you a little bit of guidance, but it's never going to be the full extent of all the plants. So let me get this snake plant potted up into its multiple pots. All right, so 5 different propagation methods, lots of opportunities to make lots of new plants. Just remember, not every propagation method works for every plant, and don't get frustrated. This took me a while to get the hang of, but once you get the hang of it, it is super easy and it's actually extremely fun to do. So remember, no patented plants, so don't get yourself in trouble, and just learn, use it as a learning experience. Let me know in the comments below which propagation methods you prefer, if you've tried any of these, or which one you're gonna try first. I hope you guys are having a good day, and I'll see you in the garden.